So, Neil, I want to start there a little bit because what struck me is that if you look at these cases, from the New York criminal case to Georgia to special counsel Jack Smith's Jewel case, they all have this one thing in common: fraud. And I was struck, of course, as I just played, by the AG's comments, which, again, could be applied anywhere. But if you're a prosecutor, how do you look at kind of this theme of grifting and fraud over the course of decades and in multiple cases?
Yeah, so first I just wanted to make a comment about what Don Jr. said, equivocating these judgments to what happens in Russia. No, in Russia, they literally execute political opponents. The Trumps can't even condemn that. And indeed, Trump is coming into court trying to seek absolute immunity so that he, as president, could, as he said, allow the execution of his political opponents. And so, to me, the theme, Jen, is not just fraud, which is a common theme throughout all of these different cases, but also this idea of impunity, that he is above the law. He goes into court. He's been saying this even before he became president in 2016. He committed various crimes. He said, well, you couldn't prosecute me because I'm now sitting president and in office. And then when he's impeached, says, you know, you have to prosecute me. You can't just impeach me. And then when he leaves his office as president, he says, well, you can't prosecute me because you didn't fully impeach me. I mean, the whole thing is just a house of cards. At every turn, it's about saying, I, Donald Trump, am above the law. And that's why this decision, I think, was so important this week by Judge Engoron, because it attacks one of the things Trump is most proud of, his supposed business acumen. And so the judgment's not just a blow to his business and to his wallet, it's a blow to his ego, and it's a blow to his claim that he's above the law.
And such a good point on Putin. Trump has an affinity for Putin. This has been on my mind, and I'm going to be talking about it later in the show. Andrew, let me go to you here, because there's a lot of practical questions here. Obviously, Trump now owes a lot of money, I think it's fair to say. He has, if I understand it correctly, but you'll correct me if I'm misstating, 30 days about. So what happens in that time period when he gets to 30 days? If he appeals, what percentage does he have to pay? Basically, what does it look like over the next couple of weeks?
Sure. So there's about $350 million judgment. As you said, there's also interest. That's about another $100 million. He also owes about $90 million to E. Jean Carroll for sexual assault and repeated defamation. So we're now actually talking about some real money for anybody. So add that all up. And what he has to do is he gets to appeal both the federal E. Jean Carroll case that's about $90 million. He gets to appeal, which is part of our process, the judgment that just came out on Friday. However, what is required is in 30 days of the Judge Engoron decision, he has to either pay the money or he has to post a bond. Yeah, the total. And so that is going to be difficult because he has loans outstanding to, like, for instance, Deutsche Bank. When you take a loan out in his situation, he gave a personal guarantee. There are liens on his property. There usually are commitments he has to make in terms of cash reserves. So in other words, there's a lot of encumbered assets. So he needs to either figure out how he's going to pay that or find a bond company that's willing for a fee to put the money up. And the reason, by the way, is clear. It's like, this is the court saying, you know, if you want to appeal, that's fine, but we need to protect the plaintiffs because while you're appealing, there has to be a pool of money available to them. And then one just quick comment is the sort of decisions that have come down are quite interesting because you have somebody who's saying, trust me to run the country for 4 years. But you have Judge Engoron, as you've said, Jen, saying, I don't trust you to run your own company in New York for 3 years, and I'm going to require 2 independent monitors to oversee you. And this is the same person who's saying, trust me to run the country